Just not even sugarcoat it. This is one of my favorite things I've ever gotten to do at Barstool. We're joined by I'm just going to say it, the all-time most legendary college baseball coach in the history of the sport, Skip Bertman. 5 national championships at LSU, won one at Miami. Really helped pioneer in the sport. Joins us. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Nice to talk to you. I'm excited about the present baseball team and that they're going to Omaha. I think that's a great thing.
Yes, sir. I would ask, actually, we'll start with that. The LSU Tigers going to Omaha for the 20th time in 40 seasons, which you started in the mid-'80s, and, has won 7 national titles. But I know you're very close with LSU head coach Jay Johnson, and you do a lot of stuff with the program. Just what makes him so great? He's doing a phenomenal job.
Well, and I'm going to answer that. In order to be a great coach, you have to do 4 things minimum. And one is you have to recruit good players, and Jay's a master recruiter. And number 2 is you have to be able to practice well and take care of everything in practice. Jay does that very well because I've attended many practices. Then you have to be able to call well in the game, when you actually play the game. And number 4, you have to be able to talk to the kids. You need information about team building and, of course, motivation. Jay can do all of those things, and that's what makes him so great.
Well, he's certainly a master of preparation. And, I'm curious what you think about this current college baseball and college sports world because, I look back at the great LSU teams from your past, and there was such a heavy reliance on local Louisiana talent. And now it's a different world with the transfer portal, and LSU's, recruits super nationally. And it kind of seems like almost a little bit of a different model, but a very successful one.
Yes, it's very, very different. Personally, with the NIL, the name, image, and likeness, finances given to players, and the transfer portal where guys can transfer 5 times. Okay, not just once. I wouldn't want to be part of that. But I do want to say that the players are much better now than they were when I coached. They come out of that travel bowl, and it's hardcore. They're all 6 foot, 210 pounds or bigger, and it's different. And Jay is in the right spot. He's the right coach. He does it all. It's amazing.
Yes, sir. He certainly does. And looking at this LSU Tiger team this year, I mean, the 1-2 combo of Cade Anderson and Anthony Ianson, best starting pitching combo in college baseball. It just seems like anytime you got either one of those guys taking the ball, you got to feel good about it.
Absolutely. Like you said, nobody in college baseball has a pair of pitchers as good as Cade or Anthony. When they pitch well, it's lights out. And for the other team, whatever they go, 7 or 8 innings. But, they're the greatest. And they're both going to be, good-sized draft picks. Probably Cade Anderson in the first round. It's pretty likely we're not going to see them next year. But they're great kids. And the team is great. Great bunch of kids. Nice bunch of coaches. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yes, sir. This team this year it is excellent. The 1-2 starting combo is great, but then the lineup, Jared Jones, great power hitter. Ethan Fry, who's actually a Louisiana kid, has really emerged. The Curiel, the freshman All-American outfielder. They got Stephen Milam. They got a lot. They got a lot of guys. I mean, Jake Brown. I feel like they got a very, very deep lineup, and it seems like the bats have been getting hot lately.
Well, they do. They got a great team. First of all, you got to go into the transfer portal. Jay got the catcher, Luis Hernandez. You got the center fielder from Auburn, Sanfield. They've got
the second baseman Dickinson too.
They got Dickinson. I'd say, and of course Isom. So we couldn't play without those four guys. And of course he recruited Derek Carriel as the number one player in America, and our coach recruited him. So with those five guys, and then people like Ethan, who coming on, as a 3-year player. And like you said, Jake Brown, and of course others that have been there, like Michael Braswell at third base, for example, and of course our shortstop,
Steve Miles.
He's the greatest. He's only made 4 errors all year. That's incredible.
Yeah, before the year, there were people questioning if he was going to be good enough defensively to play shortstop. I think he answered that.
Well, in the fall, Coach didn't really know, and he tied them both. Braswell had played all last year at short and did well. Nice kid. But as it turns out, it looks like Milam had a little more range, a little more accuracy with his arm. And, of course, now that it's been done, it was the right move. There's no question about it.
Yes, sir. Well, LSU heading into Omaha, SEC superpower matchup, because Coach Van Horn, what he's built at Arkansas is literally unbelievable. The consistency level of that program the last 10, 15 years, I mean, there's never an off year with them. I mean, they're top 5 or top 10 every year. Very easily could have won it in 2018 when they dropped that foul ball in Game 2 against Oregon State. But Arkansas, phenomenal baseball team this year. Great lineup with the Alloy brothers. They got a ton of bullpen arms. Zach Root, the lefty, going to pitch.
They do.
I mean, I feel like you could make a big argument that the winner of this Game 1 has, a beyond excellent chance of making the national championship series.
Yes. If we win in that Game 1, and then let's say UCLA wins and we beat them in Game 2, we're still going to play Arkansas again, you see, and they'd have to beat us twice, or vice versa. If we lose and beat UCLA, we still got to beat Arkansas twice. See, so this first game is huge for both teams. But let me say this about Van Horn. He's an excellent coach, of course. But they have wonderful facilities at Arkansas. Oh, maybe the best in the Southeastern Conference. They draw 10 or 12,000 like we do every game. And there's just so many good players, as I mentioned earlier, that Arkansas gets their share, LSU gets their share, and other teams that played well, like Kentucky or Mississippi, that went into the tournament but didn't make it. Vanderbilt, they didn't make it; they got beat. They're so great teams, and the fact that all these new players beat number 1 seeds in their regional says that the quality of the competition is getting better and better. So Murray State from Kentucky is going there for the first time in the history of the school.
Yeah. Never won an NCAA tournament game in baseball before this year, and they're going to Omaha.
That's right. Never won one. And this year they were great. They got to give the kids a lot of credit for beating Mississippi and then doing a hell of a job. The other regional, and you're right. They just came alive. Everybody wanted it, and they just did a great job.
Yeah, Murray State and UCLA, the other half of the LSU-Arkansas bracket. That would be an LSU-Murray State winners bracket game Monday night with the stories would be I would love to see it. I can tell you that.
Oh, sure. Actually, having been, I think what you said earlier, LSU's been to Omaha 20 years of the 40 years Okay, nobody has been to Omaha every other year, like us. Nobody has 7 national championships like us. USC has 10 national championships, but they were in the 1960s and 70s. And the players were different. And as I said, even when I coached, they're different. So we're super. And FSU is going for the 25th time. But when I played at Miami, University of Miami, when I was a student and an athlete playing baseball, we played against Dick Hauser and Florida State. And, of course, they had Danny Litwire as a wonderful coach. And so they had a chance to go to Omaha going back 50, 60 years. We only have 40 years, or we would have been to Omaha 25 times. Yeah. And in the 25 times, they only won one time. And then, of course, Mike Martin, a great coach, God rest his soul, went there 15 times and wasn't fortunate enough to win. So FSU's got this baggage, going back. And although Link Jarrett, the coach, is wonderful.
Yeah, the Notre Dame run, when he beat Tennessee in that Super in 2022, that Tennessee team was one of the best teams ever. I mean, that was unbelievable.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the guy's a great coach, and you got to have some good fortune to win in Omaha, no matter who you are. That's baseball.
Yeah.
And fortunately, LSU has a good enough team to win the whole thing. But that pitching matchup between Cade Anderson, was it Jay Root?
Yeah, Zach Root, the left. He was really good at East Carolina, and they poached him out of the portal.
Right. He was listed as the best pitcher, in the league. And, of course, he's terrific. He was a few strikeouts ahead of Cade Anderson and Iacon. So right now, I think you're right. I think the winner of the game here, because whoever loses the first game, it's so tough to come back in a 4-team tournament. It's so tough. Got to beat the other guy twice after beating everybody else. So it's a tough gig. And Ray Tanner at South Carolina was the last coach, great coach, who lost in the first game, come back and win it. So you don't see much of that, but I hope no matter what happens, LSU gets a chance to play for the championship.
I remember in 2017, LSU lost to Oregon State, I believe, and then they had to fight out of the losers bracket, and they did it, but then they had to throw they were throwing guys in game 1 against Florida in that championship series that barely pitched all year because they gassed out their staff so bad.
Paul Maneri did a great job, and he comes down to play Florida, like you said, and he has a pitcher hurt, a good one, and that's a bad luck thing. And then he's got nobody else, which is very common out of the losers bracket. So he did good against Florida, but Florida had some good pitching as per the tournament. They had some pitchers that didn't throw as much as LSU pitchers. And it was a great thing for Paul, and I'm sorry they came in second. Jay Johnson also came in second with Arizona.
Mm-hmm. They lost to Coastal Carolina, who's back this year in 2016.
And Coastal Carolina was wonderful that year because, they were here at LSU, beat us, and they were wonderful. Had all 5-year kids, 4-year kids. And I'm sure that's like that again, later on. They get great recruits, and The difference is, I think this year they have, like you said, 50+ wins. Nobody else does. So they're very good, Coastal Carolina. I'll say that they certainly can compete for national championship. But Oregon State is good.
Oh yeah,
so,
Oregon State 3 national titles in the 2000s already. I know they hadn't been to Omaha since '18, but certainly. In Arizona, has a good tradition. Louisville, Dan McDonnell, has done really well. I mean, it's, just because there's not many SEC teams doesn't mean this isn't a great College World Series.
It's unbelievable. We have 16 SEC teams, and 13 made it to the NCAA playoff, and only 2 are left.
I know, definitely wouldn't have thought that. With like the last few years, the SEC's just dominated Omaha. You've had all SEC national championship matchups multiple times. Mississippi State, Vandy, Tennessee, Texas A&M. And LSU beating Florida. I mean, 3 of the last 4 years, but not the case this season.
Yeah, you're right. It's getting tougher and tougher, as I said, and whoever has. Oh, one of the things about this year, nobody this year was there last year, which is really odd, for the College World Series.
Wow.
Usually repeat, getting there. On the other hand, this year, with nobody coming back from last year, I have a feeling, that the championship play has just brought better athletes. And so a team like Murray State and certainly a team like Coastal Carolina, they can blow in, and it's amazing what they can do. So, yeah, I wouldn't count anybody out. It's just a baseball tournament. It's anything can happen, and people can drop balls. Guy can hit a homer that never hit one before. Guy can pitch great, didn't pitch well last time, and vice versa. So, yeah, you got to be very fortunate.
Yeah, I was going to ask, so a couple of LSU Omaha questions. First one, the lineage of LSU fans and the relationship with Omaha is unbelievable. How much the town of the city of Omaha loves LSU, and it's every year they go, Omaha celebrates. Like LSU's the Omaha team. You see, I mean, LSU brings 10, 15, 20,000 fans out there every year. I just want to ask you, as just a coach, how special that relationship is.
When I went, I've been to Omaha, in Miami 7 times, and I was here 11 times, plus some other times I went. I've been to Omaha 20+ times. All right, but now, there's not, other than Oregon State, which has won a few, there's nobody else in there like LSU's. Arkansas has never won, although, like you said, they missed, pop up, and that's unfortunate. But he's been there. Well, Arkansas has been to the World Series 12 times. See, and it's tough to win out there. And like I'm saying, if you're Oregon State and they drop the foul ball, and then your catcher gets up and hits the base, and that's over. That's baseball. So we'll see what happens. I'm excited about watching them play.
Yes, sir. I'm curious, so of all the stats, you talk about the LSU, the 20 times in 40 years is beyond ridiculous. I mean, that's crazy. They've made Omaha half the time for 4 decades. But the fact they've made it 19 times before and won 7 national titles is one of the craziest stats I've ever heard, because you've got an 8-team tournament, and they've literally won it more often than 1 out of 3 times. And I know you mentioned good fortune's part of it, but there's got to be more than that. As a coach, were there any just secrets to getting ready for Omaha? Because it feels like the success level was Obviously
Well,
you're onto something.
let me go back and about what you said about the fans.
Okay.
Yeah, the fans love LSU, and of course, in addition to having great people, which they like, and great people in Omaha, they stay the longest. LSU fans, and they pay. They drop the most money, so naturally, Omaha loves LSU. Not to mention the fact that if they get into the finals, LSU, like you said, have 15,000 out of the 24,000 they could fit in that ball yard, maybe more. So I don't think anybody can do that but LSU.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's so fun. Like I know people in Omaha, and they're just like celebrating when LSU makes it because of what happens with the fan base taking over and the amount of money they spend and supporting the town. It's I don't know. It's a very special thing that goes back to Rosenblatt. Back in. I mean, this has been going on for forever, and I mean, I know tons of Louisiana people going as always. It's a crazy.
Yeah, we'll have a lot of people that'll go for a short time and then go back for the playoffs. We'll have a lot of people who don't go out at all until the 2 out of 3 playoffs. On the other hand, we have the most people that stay 10, 11 days. I mean, they spend the whole time out there. And remember, Omaha has been so nice to LSU fans. I mean, they have a purple and gold, bar, and they've got jambalaya and things that they never had before because LSU's been out there 20 times.
Yeah, yes, sir. It's an incredible history and lineage, and I mean, I guess you got to LSU as I know it was, I've watched all the documentaries and I followed it in my childhood, but I mean, I think people forget that when you got to LSU, like LSU baseball, you mentioned all the USC titles in the 60s and 70s. Like LSU baseball wasn't a thing till the mid 80s when you got there.
When I got there, they did charge admission for LSU baseball games. When I got there were no batting cages. We had to put netting, up. We had no money and had to, get some baseballs somehow. And the kids helped fixing the field. The kids helped cleaning up or painting. And the kids did a lot. Today, they just don't have to do that. The budgets are huge. But in those days, boy, I'll tell you, it was tough. And I think that my going to every school in Louisiana where people came out to watch LSU get beat, I think that helped a lot with the crowds. I had calls from the Arkansas AD when I was the AD and the Auburn AD and Vanderbilt, and they said, how do you do that? How do you have so many people and get to Omaha? And I said, it's easy. I said, you just got to have a nice stadium, and you got to win some ball games, of course. On the other hand, in addition to winning the ball games, LSU's had great crowds and wonderful people. Let me tell you what, Ben, they had Josh Pearson. Jay is so strong. He didn't start the game, but he sent them up there to have his last at bat at Alec Box in his 4th year. And when he went up and they announced him, he got a standing ovation for almost 2 minutes. See, that can only happen at LSU, where the fans are so smart and they're so baseball-oriented. And you can't get a ticket to an LSU baseball game. You got to go standing room all day. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I know you still are very involved with Jay in the program. I mean, when you go to those games at the box, did you ever think back to, like we mentioned in the mid 80s when you showed up and it was free and just think, man, I mean, to go from where you started to having 12,000 a night. I mean, it's what a journey. I mean, it's incredible.
Well, thanks. And I must say that I enjoyed it. I still miss the players coaching today or the competitiveness of the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. I miss that. But I don't miss recruiting. I certainly don't miss paying players, or going into the transfer portal because you have to. Everybody has to. And but it's different. And Jay handles all of those things very, very well.
Yes, sir. He definitely. It's crazy to me that the portal's open during the NCAA tournament. Like, you see people transferring for next year for LSU. Like, I don't understand how you're going to put that much burden on a coaching staff. Just like, don't open the portal till the tournament's over. Like, to me, that's it's like penalizing people for doing well. It's crazy.
Yeah, it'd be nice if they didn't recruit. See, outlawed recruiting until after the tournaments, or maybe even after the College World Series. But the people recruiting, like Jay has to recruit every day now, just like he wasn't going to Omaha. He's still got to recruit. He's still got to go into their homes, when he gets a recruit or transfer. And, he brought in 22 people last year, and he was in all 22 homes. He's a terrific recruiter. He's got the budget to take an airplane and go where he needs to be. Okay, I was driving to Shreveport to see a kid play. When today that kid probably couldn't play at all in this league. But in those days, like you say, I had to take local kids, and I was proud to do it. They were great kids, and I really enjoyed that. But pretty much today, like you said, you got to be national. If you want to play nationally, you got to recruit nationally.
Yeah, it's definitely a different world, because like so many of those just great lineage LSU teams you'd have all these Louisiana kids everywhere. But sports, like you said, it's changing time, and Jay Johnson's certainly the man to get it done. I also I have a couple more questions for you. What did you think about baseball, like, the Gorilla Ball era, when those teams you had were, Brandon Larson at 42 homers, and then they changed the sport because you were so dominant?
Yeah, the answer is we had different bats then. The bats are much more electric than they are now. But Tennessee has a very small ballpark. So last year when they won, they hit 180 homers, but this is a small ballpark. Mm-hmm. So everybody today, like us, we're hitting like 90 or 80 homers. Some people get to 120, and that's good. Like Arkansas, that's terrific. And the bats are much softer, so to speak. When the ball is hit now, you have to do a better job of hitting than you did, 25 years ago, or even 20 years ago. And it's fun. It's fun to watch them. I can't wait to watch them because it's a tough game. But I like to watch the other games and see college baseball. And, of course, TV ratings are going up and up, just like softball ratings have been up and up. I see people are really getting into it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. That's what I was going to ask about, is the growth of college baseball in the last – it's been going on, it's been a slow build for a long time, but now, you see LSU, 12,000 fans, Arkansas, both the Mississippi schools do it, Ole Miss and Mississippi State, and you're seeing college baseball is becoming so much more, like, national now, and I don't know. It's kind of just amazing to just see the growth. And I think in the next 10 years, it's just going to keep happening.
Well, I agree with you. The growth has been tremendous, and it'll get better. Like I said earlier, you can't buy a ticket to get into an LSU tournament, but you could get standing room only. But let me go back to what you said, about LSU and the other teams playing years ago. Yes, the whole sport and the fans have been terrific. Now, how they do that, number one, is it's relatively inexpensive, baseball tickets compared to football or even basketball. That's number one. Number two is they like watching all the kids look like their nephew. All the kids look like their boys. They're all 6 foot or 5'11". It's amazing. And you don't have to be a football player size, is what I'm saying. You don't have to be 6'8", 300 pounds. And same with basketball. You don't have to be 7 feet tall, to play. In baseball, a guy's 5'6", and he still can play. And it's Stephen Milam. And I had guys. I had Mike Fontenot did that, in 2000 when we won. And, of course, he played the big leagues with Ryan Terrio. So, in all, I think that it's money. I think that the ADs, all of whom have built new stadiums, all 16 teams, some are on their third or fourth stadium, but they've bigged it up and they've made it new. And that's because they can fill it. And so when Jay finishes at the end of the year, between the food that he sells, at every bowl game, and particularly, the playoffs, between the sponsors that are on the field and the scoreboards and other places, his baseball team will bring in $4 million. Wow. His little over, just about there with his budget. You know what I mean? So there's money. Like, most people can't make $4 million, but even if you made $750,000 and you gave it to the AD, there's no sport that can do that. But baseball, you can't do it in swimming, tennis, golf, and the other sports. And so baseball's a moneymaker, and that's why everybody's into it right now.
Oh, yeah, and you can't leave out the alcohol sales in this day and age now, too, because it's I know that drives a lot of it, too, at these games, now that they can sell alcohol, especially in South Louisiana with that fan base, to put it mildly. I've got only one or two more. I appreciate you giving us a lot of time. I'm sorry this has gone long, but this has been, I've been really excited about this. So I want to understand, why did you come? Like, you were a Miami guy. You played at Miami. Y'all won the College World Series at Miami. LSU had no tradition, as you mentioned. Why did you decide to go to LSU from Miami in the mid-'80s? I'm just curious.
Because the head coach, his name was Ron Frazier. He was superstar. We had 4,000 or 5,000 people when most schools didn't have that. He was tremendous. And I enjoyed coaching. He let me coach everything. And I was like, I enjoyed it, and he enjoyed it. At Miami, we had been to the World Series a lot. I mean, they never really won a championship until '82. Then they won another one since then. Okay, but they're good example of Miami, didn't go anywhere last year. But this year they went to the playoffs and, as you know, lost in the Super Regional to Louisville. The reason I went to a nondescript school is because Ron Frazier was going to coach for 10 more years.
Okay, that makes sense.
I wanted to be a head coach, but I couldn't do it at Miami. And Ron is terrific, great guy. But I wanted to be a head coach. I got permission from my wife and my daughters to go up there, and I got to be careful about this. You see, I was trained to come to LSU or any other school and make it happen. See, we did it at I did it at Miami. I did it in high school. I did it in junior college. I was trained. I had a lot of mentors. I knew a lot. So when I came, I knew what to do, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't quite understand that because at the time, I made $30,000. So there wasn't much money in baseball, for the coach. And today, there's millions.
Yeah, Coach Schlossnagle got like $2.8 million from Texas or something.
Yeah, like Schlossnagle's big time. And, sure, he's up there. And, so every coach that's in there today, if he doesn't produce, he'll be fired because of the costs, like they do for basketball, men's basketball or women's basketball. And that's good. I mean, there's no reason you can't be successful. You got to try another guy. But the reason that we made it is that people don't understand. I had a lot of background.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I was trained and ready. I knew what was going to happen when I went to LSU. I had already spoken to Jack LeMay, the former coach, and, I had already been here. I was here in 1976 with the Miami team, and we spent a lot of time going around, looking at it. So I knew what I was getting into. The only team that really played was Mississippi State, and they weren't interested in helping others. See, I was interested in helping them all, so everybody would have 10,000. And so I'm glad that worked, and I'm glad I had a chance to go in and have some part of it. But the most thing, LSU is the greatest, and fans are the greatest, and it's the only sport playing now. You know what I mean? Everybody else has been eliminated, whatever their sport is, and it's exciting. So I'm excited. Fans are excited. People want to go, but they can't get a ticket in Omaha. They can't get a hotel room. I can remember when we went to Omaha, we had to get people to go. I had to tell them, this is what it's like. And then, of course, once you go and then you win. In '86, we went. It was only my third year. We didn't win. We weren't ready for that. But then we went back in 1987 with the winning, where we won in the regional. And it was new to the people. And they got excited about it. And then we went back in '89. And then we went in 90, 91, 93, 96, 7, and so on. And we were there. And when we didn't go, we just missed. We got beat by one run, in a Sunday bowl game or so on. So I loved it, but it was different then, and it's different now. And I love it the way it is, and I love Jay and his staff, and I love the players. What a nice bunch of kids. Jay only has good kids, and I'm hoping that they can get it all right and win this thing and have good fortune and win this thing.
They certainly capable. Back then too. One of the big differences, those national championship games were winner take all back then. Now they got the 2 out of 3 series, but you get to the title game and it's just one game for it all. Baseball's such a long run sport where you have the 4 out of 7.
That's where I was fortunate. Whenever we made it to the last game, we won. When the other times we got beat sometime before the last game. So I've been lucky to be out there 5 times and winning 5 times. I'm lucky, as a coach. And on the other hand, we just missed on earlier championships. I didn't do as well as I could have. We weren't ready. But then, once we got it together, so it was much easier.
Makes sense. Well, you won 5. Obviously they're all insanely special, but the 96 one when Warren Morris hit the walk-off when y'all came back and beat that awesome Miami team, which had to mean a lot to you with your ties there. I was a 13-year-old kid in Louisiana watching that in my den, and that is literally, if I look back on my childhood, that's like one of my most profound memories was watching that in the den with my dad.
Oh, yeah.
That was literally unforgettable, and now we're 30 years later, and that.
Oh, well, it's never happened before in the 80-plus year history of the College World Series, and it probably won't happen again. It's very unusual to get a bottom of the ninth, homer to win it. See, even in the big leagues, it's only happened once. So, it's a very tough thing. And it was incredible that Warren did it with a beautiful kid who was injured and missed 42 games that year. And but his wrist, hamate, Hamate bone, very common in your wrist. And, of course, if it breaks, you just have to wait until it heals. And Warren missed, a lot of play. But then he got back in the tournament time, and we were very fortunate. He's a great kid and a wonderful player and athlete, played in the big leagues, and now he's a superstar, in the banking industry. No surprise there.
No, sir. No doubt. And, I remember that. And then I remember watching Ben McDonald pitching for LSU when I was a kid, too. And how good he was. He was one of the literally most dominant college baseball pitchers of all time.
Right. He was the number 1 pick in the country. He got $1 million, which in those days, nobody ever made $1 million. Today, it's more like $5 or $6 million for the number 1 pick or more. It depends on, who it is, if he's a pitcher or not. Ben was great, and I screwed it up. We would have had more national championships. Ben was great. What a wonderful kid, and now big league announcer. Boy, is he good.
Yeah, he kills it. The Orioles, and then I love that he still does the college baseball too. I think it's so fun that he's such a supporter of both of those. Well, Coach, I just want to say thank you for giving me so much of your time. I could sit here and talk to you for 10 hours because I just think this is like a treasure trove of info, and it's just such a unique, cool perspective. And I really appreciate you giving me this time.
Thanks. You know a lot about it, so I'm pleased to help you, and I hope that the air, conversation will get on the air and play a lot, and people will learn something.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm sure they will. You've taught a lot of wisdom to a heck of a lot of people, and good luck to LSU in this College World Series. We'll certainly be watching, and once again, just want to say thank you. This is something I've been in sports media since 2015, and I've always wanted to interview you. It's like one of my top, literally, things I wanted to do. So I just can't be more thankful and appreciative. It's really
well. I'm glad I could help you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach Skip Bertman, getting ready for LSU and their 20th College World Series. We appreciate his time, and thank you again. And thanks, Tyler Moody, our producer, and our team for setting this up. All right, y'all take it easy. Thank you, Coach. That was awesome.